Well, good morning. Today, today, City Council will consider a report from Dr. Eileen Davila to effectively make it mandatory for people to wear masks or face coverings inside businesses or public facilities. Dr. Davila's recommendation, worked out with City Legal after careful consideration of the legal landscape, would give clear direction on face coverings to help stop the spread of COVID-19. In many respects, from the standpoint of both health and the law, clarity is what is being sought on the matter of face coverings, which has been a topic of active discussion since the very beginning of this pandemic. We are in the midst of reopening our city, safely restarting the economy with an emphasis on the word safely. So we will continue to do everything we can to keep this virus from spreading and to avoid a resurgence of cases like we're seeing in other jurisdictions in North America. You have told us you don't want to see a repeat of what you see when you turn on your TV and see reports from the United States. Wearing fabric masks or face coverings keep you from unknowingly spreading this COVID-19 virus and keeps the people around you from spreading it to you. It is about respecting and protecting each other. It may be uncomfortable, it may look unusual, it may take you out of your comfort zone. I can say that's true for me because I've been wearing a mask regularly in recent times. But our doctor says that it works. So I will absolutely be supporting at the City Council today this recommendation, and I believe the vast majority of councillors will as well. This proposed measure makes sense from a health perspective, and it makes sense from a business perspective. If approved today, this bylaw would come into effect a week from today, shortly after face coverings also become mandatory on the TTC, another sensible measure which I support. Suitable exemptions will, of course, be provided for. Today's report also follows the statement from the GTHA mayors and chairs yesterday, where we all committed to a regional approach on masking. I know that some of my fellow mayors will be having more to say about this very shortly. Dr. Davila's advice has been clear for a long time. If you can't keep your distance, and it isn't always possible to do so, then wear a face covering or mask. I am confident that we will get good take-up on this, despite the fact that it is not a usual thing for most of us. Similar to other cities that have made face coverings mandatory, we will focus on public education and communicating the importance of following public health advice. I really believe that people want to protect their own health, but just as much they want to protect the health of others. We've done such a great job of looking after each other during this pandemic and supporting each other, and this is another way in which we can look after each other and support each other. And as a result, I believe that the people of the City of Toronto will do the right thing and wear a face covering.
As we are seeing in other parts of the world, the reopening of communities must be done carefully and with coordination. So mayors in the region of Peel are communicating with municipal leaders across the GTA to develop consistent policies on COVID-19 through Stage 2 and the eventual Stage 3 reopening. This includes developing a consistent policy on the use of masks in indoor public places across the Greater Toronto and Hamilton area known as the GTHA. And I'm very proud all of the mayors and the regional chairs put out a unanimous communique yesterday, and I'm just going to read from it briefly. It read in part that all the mayors and chairs are committed to working with their local medical officers of health to explore how they can best advance the universal wearing of non-medical masks and face coverings inside businesses and other indoor places where the public gathers, including on transit. This would likely include mandatory face covering in certain circumstances where municipalities may have already adopted. Subject to consultation with the medical officers of health, it is expected that the GTAH municipalities will be addressing this matter very, very soon, and for us that is today.
Since the observed peak of the pandemic in our community, we have strongly recommended the use of non-medical masks in places where physical distancing is difficult. We have also supported mandates for mask use on transit systems in our region. Today, I am issuing a recommendation that in the absence of further provincial direction, a time-limited regional bylaw should be enacted to require the use of non-medical masks in public places. I know some in our community will welcome this advice and wonder why it was not issued sooner. As always, we have strongly recommended non-medical masks, and my advice is currently predicated on our community context. A regional bylaw that requires the use of non-medical masks in public would further encourage masking in our community, clarify expectations around when and where people should mask, provide a visual reminder to all of us that these are not ordinary times, and also encourage adherence to the other core 4 behaviors. All of this will hopefully move us to our community goal of 0 new daily cases, and ideally, a properly worn non-medical mask should become as indispensable to your outings as your wallet or your keys. I know there are others who may worry about a new masking requirement. I want to be clear. This is not intended to be punitive, but rather about bringing clarity to the duty that we have to each other. For those of us who can mask, doing so keeps others safe, especially for those who cannot wear masks, such as children under the age of 2, those with certain medical conditions, or those that are unable to remove a mask without assistance.
I think that we're calling on people to do the right thing. Today we're here gathered together to ensure that the public knows that wearing masks is the right thing to do, and we are making them mandatory in indoor settings that have public access. So we're calling on our residents, each and every one of us, to bring their masks along with them wherever they go, to their workplaces or in the retail outlets, etc. Because of going forward from today, we will be requiring masks to be worn by all people except those who are exempt due to physical limitations or their age.
The recommendation of the GTHA mayors was to make sure that we advance the universal wearing of non-medical masks and face coverings inside businesses and other indoor places where there are public gatherings. This is an important elevation of the use of masks. Previously we had announced that it would be mandatory on transit, but this is a significant step in terms of ensuring that in indoor public places we have the mandatory use of masks. And we're at a critical time. We're at a critical time in the fight against COVID-19. We must do everything we can to avoid the flare-up of this virus in our community. I believe this is a step that's going to help us get through this. And frankly, as Mayor Crombie said previously, it could diminish the extent of the second wave. It could help us get to a reopening sooner if we see counts go down. Dr. Lowe said he's hoping for 0 new cases a day. Well, measures like this are going to help us get to that safer ground and a safer environment in Peel Region.